All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm back in action with an interesting look at the movies of 2016, especially the movies of the Batman movies of 2016. As we all know, 2017 is going to be a big movies for superhero movies. We're going to have a lot of things coming up. We got Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, Thor, we got Justice League, we got Wonder Woman, and a whole bunch of others. I think it's going to be like about 20 in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. There were a lot in 2016. We had a lot of superhero movies coming out last year as well. But the one thing that I found interesting as I was doing my review of 2016 is I realized there were a lot of Batman movies of 2016. Some of them were direct to video, some of them had one showing at the theater, but a lot of these were just single, and some of them were really big, of course, which you'll see here. One honorable mention I will give in a way before I start my list is to say something about Suicide Squad. Now, Suicide Squad was not a Batman movie. He was only in it briefly. Nor was it a Joker movie. He was only in it briefly, though we were teased that he was going to be in it a lot. Like he was going to be one of the main characters and stuff like that. Suicide Squad really wasn't that bad. A lot of people are making it out to be the worst movie of 2016, the worst superhero movie, the worst movie in general. But to be honest, Suicide Squad doesn't deserve that. They had characters, they had character variety, and they had a plot as skewed as it was. So it really wasn't the worst movie of 2016. No, that honor belongs to Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Yes, this was the worst movie of 2016. The story was all over the map. The characters were dull and boring and just there. Did you notice in this movie there was just a lot of posing going on? It really wasn't a bunch of action. Really wasn't a bunch of plot. It was just a bunch of just showing up and looking pretty. Zack Snyder's specialty. He can style a movie like no other, but he just can't get the plot going. Batman vs. Superman was atrocious. And a lot of people blame it on the fact that they cut out so much, but that's one of the biggest problems with this movie. Some of the best movies of 2016, Deadpool, Doctor Strange, worked because they were so simple. They didn't try to throw in a million things. They didn't try to have this plot point or that plot point and this plot point and that plot point. They were all focused on just one character, made it easy. Here, they did a great job with Batman. I will give them that. This was definitely Batman's movie. But they didn't do a great job with Superman. They're still not doing a great job with Superman. I think Henry could, and I can't pronounce his last name, forgive me. I think Henry could have been one of the best Supermans ever if he just would have had a shot at actually giving some character development, more than just brooding, The worst part about this movie, the reason I hate this movie so much, is because of the line Lex Luthor says in the movie and in the trailers. He's like, it's night versus day, light versus darkness, and it wasn't that way. You didn't have the separation that you'd normally have with these two. They're both brooding superheroes. They're both upset with their lives, and they both have no idea what the hell they're doing. With Batman, there's more development than with Superman. Superman really didn't have a reason to go after Batman, and that was a mistake. With all the comics out there of Batman versus Superman, where they define why they are fighting, they should have given them more than what they gave us here. It just sucked. The next movie actually came out first, believe it or not. But this is called Bad Blood. Now, this is the end of a trilogy. Basically, there are 3 really good Batman movies you should watch. They're animated, they're awesome, and they center around Batman's son. Okay? I forget his Damian Wayne. All right, there's the first one, which is called The Son of Batman. The second one, which is the best of the verses, it's Batman versus Robin, which was awesome. And then there's this one, Bad Blood, which kind of wraps it up. Now, with the other 2, there seemed to be more of a point. There seemed to be something going on. With Bad Blood, it didn't really tie up things as easy as it should have. it had a nice ending. Don't get me wrong. Everyone leaving together and ready to fight together, realizing that they can bond together, that Batman doesn't have to be alone like he does. If there's any one thing that made these movies awesome, it was the original Robin coming back, Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is, in my opinion, the one superhero who does not get the proper respect that he should get. He's always in Batman's shadow. As a matter of fact, so many people just want to forget him. They just want to focus on the Batman. But no, not sorry. I want to say Tim Drake, but that's not him. Dick Grayson is everything Batman could have been had he not dealt with the tragedy the way he did. Because Dick Grayson had Batman to guide him and mold him and help him, he didn't go into the brooding that Batman did. And he's just more of a human being. He's just more of a person than Batman. Batman, in many ways, is starting to he's getting too dark. And it's getting hard to relate to him. But you can still relate to Dick Grayson, and he is just awesome in this. He was awesome in the first two. He made those movies work just because he gave us what Batman and Superman should have given us. He gave us something opposite of Batman. Still badass, still dangerous, still a force to be reckoned with, but not as mean about it. It's kind of like that old saying, yes, you can be great, but you don't have to be a dick about it, Odd choice of words considering who I'm talking about. But the movie centered around Tim Drake. I knew I was going to say that. Damian Wayans. It's centered around Damian Wayans because first movie you meet him, second movie he kind of goes off because he's trying to figure out who he is and what he wants. And this one, he comes back to help Batman because Batman has strangely disappeared. It was pretty good. It introduced Batwoman, which was okay. But it just didn't have the oomph of the other two, And the other one, Batman versus Robin, that is just an awesome one. It's just one of the best Batman movies out there in general. Now, one of the problems with Batman Bad Blood was the very, very end. And I'll just tell you the last scene. It really had absolutely nothing to do with this movie. It was just that Barbara Gordon walks out as Batgirl. That's it. I mean, Batman, and okay, first off, I don't mean to spoil it, but we know it's a Batman movie. You know it's going to end kind of with everyone being okay and going off to fight more crime. And then just out of the shadows, Batgirl just walks out. That's it. Which was okay, but it didn't do much for the next movie that came out in 2016, The Killing Joke. Now, this is where I get mad at DC. Because DC doesn't know what it wants to do. On the one hand, it wants to be like Marvel and have everything connected, but on the other hand, it wants everything to stand on their own. And because of Marvel, because of the way Marvel connects everything, how the movies are connected with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are connected with, Doctor Strange and stuff like that. The problem with Batman, The Killing Joke, first off, we all know about the first 20 minutes, okay? The disaster that was. It was 20 minutes of Barbara Gordon telling her story. There is a logic to this. A lot of people get mad at that, saying, oh, it had nothing to do with The Killing Joke. Actually, it did. Because it all comes down to one line that Batman said about the bad guy they were dealing with in the first 20 minutes. He looked at Barbara and said, he is objectifying you. Okay? And you could tell this guy was all about Batgirl. I'm, of course, referring to the villain of the first 20 minutes of the Killing Joke movie. That has nothing to do with the Killing Joke comic book. The point is, he was objectifying Batgirl. He, wanted Batgirl in that way. And he was just this charming superhero who almost got the better of her in a few times. But luckily, Batman shows up or she does something to make it work, to stay out of his range. They eventually were able to arrest him and all that. But the point is, they were trying to give Batgirl more oomph than absolutely nothing. You have to remember, before The Killing Joke, there was no Batgirl. Okay? She just walked out at one point. So it's not like she had a backstory. And they did. And the one thing people hated about The Killing Joke, the comic book, was that Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, is reduced to nothing more than just another victim of the Joker. Well, on one hand, that shows you just how evil and badass the Joker is. You know, I mean, no matter who you are or what you do, you're still just another victim to him. And back in those days, that meant something because she was Batgirl. We knew who she was. We knew what she could do. And for the Joker to just show up, and you see the surprise on her face when she realizes who it is at the door, boom. You know, it really hits hard. Excuse me. It hit hard back then. This time around, without that introduction, they felt that the introduction was put in to give her more of an ump. But it backfired. The first 20 minutes totally backfire on the Killing Joke. But that's not really the thing that ruined this movie. If you're like a lot of people, you let go of the first 20 minutes and you said, okay, we're focusing on the Killing Joke now. This is where I feel a little confused. Because do you ever get what you wanted, but then you realize it wasn't really what you wanted? They were able to do the Killing Joke practically frame by frame. I mean, it was a beautiful rendition of what this story was going to look like in an animated, moving universe and everything. They had to stretch out certain parts because you got to, pad the runtime and everything. But they did such a great job of it. But in some ways, that was the problem with the Killing Joke, was the fact that it was so close to the original source material that you didn't get anything new and you didn't get the oomph from it that you originally got when you first read the book. And maybe that was the other problem. This is an old story now. This is nothing new. This is something we've all seen before. We've read it a few times already. We're shocked by it. We're just amazed that the Joker could go to such depth, and yet at the same time, the movie just didn't showcase that as well as we were expecting. When they built it up, everybody came back. Mark Hamill came back as a Joker. Kevin Conroy came back as Batman. And it just didn't have the same, oomph that we wanted. It was still good. It just wasn't great like we were expecting. And if you really want to go great, if you really want to get to the essence of Batman, you got to go with the last one on our list. The best Batman movie of 2016. Definitely Return of the Caped Crusaders. Without a doubt. Because let me tell you something. If there's anything that also made me mad about the Batman versus Superman is I didn't feel like I was watching Batman and I didn't feel like I was watching Superman. I felt like I was watching somebody else's rendition of them. They didn't do that here. Return of the Caped Crusaders brought us back to the Caped Crusaders. Okay? They brought us back. It's so funny. Remember, in 1989, when they came out with Batman with Michael Keaton, nobody wanted this. Okay? This was the last thing people wanted. People were upset that Batman wouldn't get back to his dark roots, that we would have to deal with this again in 1989. But here we are, 2016. We have a story that goes back to the way it was 50 years ago. Think about that for a moment. But they kept the heart and soul of that show. The heart and soul of it. They kept it in perfect order, I mean, in this movie, Batman becomes a bad guy. So it's up to Robin to team up with Catwoman to stop him. But even when he's a bad guy, they keep the cheesiness of the original show, That's why I'm so mad at Zack Snyder. They're taking Batman and he's turning it into his own dark vision. That's one thing. But if you're really going to make a movie about Batman, keep it Batman. Okay? Make it Batman. Don't give us this whatever you think it is. We don't want to see that. We want to see Batman. The Batman you see in the comics. The Batman we've seen on TV shows. The Batman animated series. The best version of Batman you can imagine. Just take that and make it better. They work on trying to change the character, but it just doesn't mesh. The worst thing about Batman versus Superman is that, apparently, obviously, he killed the Robin. He killed a Robin, right? And yet, the Joker's still alive? Well, that Batman wouldn't have let the Joker live. He kills everybody else, So it's like, what's the point of that sometimes? But this one kept the heart and the soul, the cheesiness, the humor, the incredible escapes through the most bogus means you can imagine. It was just awesome, because we've gone so far one way. We've gone so far into the dark Cape Crusader that it is so welcome to return to the more lighter, funnier. This is a breath of fresh air here. And because it was everything we were hoping it to be, everything we would expect it to be, this was the best Batman movie of 2016. But what do you think of my list? And what do you think of just the Batman movies of 2016? Yes, I could not do all of them. And if you haven't seen Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders yet, it's still new. Get it. Watch it. It's hilarious. You'll love it. And if you're a fan of the show, even a little bit, you'll like it. Because they were able to do things in the movie they couldn't do in the show because obviously special effects and all that. But what do you think? What was the best movie of 2016 for Batman? What's the best superhero movie of 2016 in your opinion? Let me know in the comment section below, and we will see you at the theaters.